Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am just Mike. You are watching and you are listening to episode number 66 of The Rock Wild Show, where it is not just a show, it is a way of life. Now, if you are new to this video, and if you are new to this show, as well as this YouTube channel right now, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below this very video. You can also like or dislike this episode however you see fit, and share episode 66 of The Rock Out Wild Show on all of your social media platforms, from your Facebook to your X to your Instagram, your YouTube, your Snapchat, whatever you use for social media. Share this episode all across the board. And also tell everyone you know about The Rock Out Wild Show, from your family to your friends to your coworkers to your acquaintances, and let everyone know what The Rock Out Wild Show is all about. I am your host, Just Mike, and as you see from the title of this very video, I will be reacting to an article that came out in mid-December of last year from Empire Online, as they rank the 50 best science fiction movies of all time. I figured that it's been a while since I covered a main event movie topic, and science fiction was something I've been thinking about as of late. So I'm going to talk about the best in terms of science fiction movies for the main event for episode 66 of The Rock Out Wild Show. Also, we're going to take a look at on this day for April the 15th in the world of wrestling, music, sports, film, and television. And to kick things off, I am going to react to an old movie review of mine, a movie called The Woman in Black 2, Angel of Death. So what I'm going to do is open up the webcam and say hi to everyone watching this episode all around the world. How are you all doing? I'm doing all right. And let's get right to it. So what I'm going to do is present, share screen, make sure the audio is on. Let's go to the review here. And I'm going to go full screen with this. And I'm going to react to my old movie review for The Woman in Black 2, Angel of Death. I don't remember if I liked or disliked this movie at all. I generally do not know. So I'm going to predict that I gave this roughly around 56 out of 100. That's a safe bet. Am I off? Am I way off? Am I only a little bit off? Let's find out. So let's do this in 3, 2, 1, action. Hey, what's up and how's it going, all movie fans in the movieverse? Yeah. Welcome to the Mike McRock movie review. Is it too dark in here? Yeah, it is. Hang on just one sec. That's a relay. Alright, that's better. Let's get this going. I mean, the title of the movie is called The Woman in Black. That black intro, that really suited. That suited. Hey, what's up and how's it going, all movie fans in the movieverse? Welcome to the Mike McRock movie review show. Right now I'm going to review The Woman in Black 2, Angel of Death. And this movie takes place 40 years after the first haunting at this really creepy house during the Second World War in 1941, where a couple of adults and a group of kids decide that the safest way to hide is by living in this really haunted house, with the possibility of this woman in black living there with holes in the walls and barbed wire and all that other stuff. Yeah, once I saw that happening, all human logic is just tossed out the window. Hmm.
and it just goes downhill from there. But there are a couple of positives in this movie, and one positive that I got coming out of it is that Phoebe Fox, who plays Eve in this movie as the leading role in this film, she actually was pretty good in this movie, despite how stupid and dumb this movie was. I think that she gave it her all with the material that she worked with. The problem is that her character was written to be really dumb and stupid. I mean,
Hmm.
here's this woman who keeps saying hello, hello, hello every time she's trying
And also, is there anybody out there?
to find this woman in black that she's trying to find. I mean, hello.
Hello?
And you also have these really creepy kids in this movie, and I thought they were not half bad either, especially that kid Edward, who did not speak entirely at all, well, almost not speak entirely throughout this entire runtime of this movie. I mean, it takes a certain skill to not be able to speak in a movie and just use certain facial expressions to get your point across. And I
Yeah.
think this kid done a decent job doing that. And you also have this other woman in this movie who's pretty much telling our main star that it's all in your head, it's all in your mind, and other stuff, saying dumb things. And like I said, everyone in this movie, the words they use, the scripts, what they got to work with,
Mm-hmm.
it's just absolutely ridiculous to watch, I
I agree.
must say.
Yeah.
And the other positive I liked coming out of this movie is that the atmosphere was actually not half bad. The way it was shot,
Mm-hmm.
the visuals of this movie were actually somewhat decent, but there were also times where, you know what, it was getting so dark where you really couldn't see what was going on. I mean, it wouldn't help that one of the camera guys would just put on a little bit of light so we actually could see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, shoot a bit of light at the face of the actor so we can see what their expressions are. And there
I mean, it's all about the visual presentation when you watch a movie. I mean, you have to see what's going on. It's kind of like the Resident Evil, the final chapter, where you couldn't see a goddamn thing in the mix of the action. I'm pretty sure I'll get to that movie sometime in these reactions. So, with that said, even with a horror movie with a solid atmosphere to it like this, as I said, you need to see what the heck is going on screen.
was also a moment where it got so dark, and literally the very next scene
Again,
was so bright. I
oh,
mean, your
constant.
eyes hurt. It
Mm-hmm.
was that bad.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, if you're going to make a horror movie, please make it scary. Because
I
this
agree.
movie was not scary at all. Maybe
Mhm.
besides for one creepy moment, but that was pretty much about it. There was nothing scary to this movie. There was no tension and no suspense. Maybe you can say that there is some suspense in a sense where, oh no, I don't want to have this potentially creepy scene ruined by a jump scare. Oh, and a jump scare happens.
Jump
Jump
scare.
scare here, jump scare there, jump scare everywhere. I mean, you can even see them coming from a mile away. It's so
Mm.
very predictable.
It's one
It's
of
just the
those.
way the writers and the directors telegraphed it, made you believe, okay, this is going to happen here, and it does. You see kids scaring our star in the movie, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
You see a bird hit the window.
Oh,
A
done,
bird hit the window.
done
I
too
mean,
many
you
times.
can't get any more cliched as much as that.
Yeah.
And that's what this movie was. This was rehashed, recycled, cliched, boring, predictable.
Oh,
You've seen it all before.
right. Yeah.
And there was also a moment in this movie where it got really sweet. And it was that ending where, you see the kid and the woman, living in this new place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, it's really sweet. They're ending this movie really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But then it ends with a pointless jump scare. They even throw this cheesy romance into this movie as well with the star and this other guy. I don't know why they put that in there. probably just for the sake of putting it in there because I didn't have nothing else to put in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say that this movie is just really, really bad and dumb.
Oh,
But I'm not going to knock on it too much because of the acting. I thought the acting was fine. It was
right,
just the material they had to work with was just really, really bad.
right.
And I'm going to say that The Woman in Black 2, Angel of Death, delivered 51 points
Oh,
out of 100.
oh, off by
And if
5.
you saw this movie, what did you think about it? Feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below. And you can also hit that subscribe button as well to get McRocked.
Wow, I was only off by 5 points, and I completely forgot how many points that I actually gave it. You know, where there's actually some movies where I do remember uh, the exact point or the point range. This one, I legitimately did not know what I gave it 10 years, 10 or 11 years ago. So to see me get really, really close and only 5 points off actually quite surprised me a little bit. As far as this movie goes, I will not watch this ever again. Uh, if I see nothing on Netflix or any other streaming service and I happen to come across this movie, maybe I would watch it just to pass the time, maybe put it on in the background while I'm doing something else. It's that kind of movie. It's that movie where you have on the background while you're focusing more on another task you're doing. So that's my take in retrospective of The Woman in Black 2, Angel of Death. And now let's get into the stuff you normally see on the Rock Out Wild show. And that is a thing I like to call an installment on this day for April the 15th. So let's present, share screen. And we're going to start with Professional Wrestling Brother for April the 15th. So what happened in wrestling in years past on this day? Well, here's a picture of two Money in the Bank winners, Asuka and Otis. In 1991, on April the 15th, WWE tapes the 29th Saturday Night's main event in Omaha, Nebraska. Nebraska. On the show, the Ultimate Warrior defeated Sergeant Slaughter by disqualification, and Mr. Perfect won a 20-man battle royal. In 1995, ECW Hostile City Showdown took place at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. On the show, the Sandman defeated Shane Douglas to win the ECW Heavyweight Championship after Woman turned on the champion mid-match. Douglas would soon leave ECW to portray Dean Douglas in WWE. In the main event, two hardcore icons went to war as Cactus Jack defeated Terry Funk. In 2001, Michiro Misawa became Pro Wrestling Noah's first GHC heavyweight champion with a win over Yoshihiro Takayama. In 2007, TNA Lockdown took place at the Family Arena in St. Charles, Missouri. As was traditional with this pay-per-view, every match took place inside the infamous steel cage. I wonder, what's it, the blue cage? No, it wouldn't be the blue one because this was 2007. I think they went away with that after somewhere in the 90s. The main event was a lethal lockdown match. That's Team Angle, Kurt Angle, Sting, Jeff Jarrett, Rhino, and Samoa Joe defeated Team Cage, who is compiled as Christian Cage, Tyson Tonko, AJ Styles, Abyss, and Scott Steiner. This fast son of a bitch. Also on the show, Team 3D won the TNA World Tag Team Championships by defeating LAX in an electrified steel cage. And I don't think they've done that ever again. At least I don't think. In 2012, TNA Lockdown took place at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. As per usual, all matches took place inside a steel cage. The main event saw Bobby Roode defeat his former Beer Money partner James Storm to retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. All I have to say is sorry about your damn luck. In the annual Lethal Lockdown match, Team Garrett Bischoff, AJ Styles, Mr. Anderson, Rob Van Dam, and Austin Aries defeated Team Bischoff, Eric Bischoff, Gunner, Bully Ray, Christopher Daniels, and Frankie Kazarian. The loss meant Eric Bischoff was dismissed kayfabe from TNA. In 2013, on an episode of Monday Night Raw taped in Greensville, South Carolina, Kofi Kingston defeated Antonio Cesaro for the WWE United States Championship. In 2020, as a result of grand scale format changes brought about by the COVID-19 global pandemic, WWE decided to make their male and female Money in the Bank matches cinematic style contests taped at Titan Towers in Stamford, Connecticut. While the matches were taped largely separately, they were presented as one interlocked match. The two briefcases were suspended from rigging on the roof of the building, and competitors had to work their way from the ground floor of the building to secure victory. That's a weird way of putting together a match. The women's contract was won by Asuka in a contest also including Dana Brooke, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Carmella, and Lacey Evans. Otis was victorious on the men's side over Aleister Black, Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, Rey Mysterio, and AJ Styles. Also in the year 2020, with Pete Dunne stuck in England due to COVID-19 flight restrictions, Matt Riddle teamed with the debuting Timothy Thatcher to successfully defend the NXT Tag Team Championships against Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish on the weekly NXT show. Also in 2020, on a day subsequently dubbed Black Wednesday, WWE conducted their biggest mass release of talent in a decade. Names to be let go include Kurt Angle, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, EC3, Heath Slater, and Rusev. And Rusev is back in WWE as we speak. And in 2021, exactly a year to the day after Black Wednesday, WWE holds another large scale of talent release with names feature endeavored. We'd like to grudge you. Wish you on your best future endeavors, including Mickie James, Samoa Joe, Bo Dallas, Peyton Royce, Kalisto, Chelsea Green, and Tucker. We have some birthdays for professional wrestling for April the 15th. We have Rizuki Taguchi, who was born on this day in 1979. Born on 1978, Austin Aries. And born April 15th, 1954, Mike Tenay. And those are all the events that happened on this day for April the 15th in the world of professional wrestling. Now let's take a look at what happened on this day for April the 15th in the world of music. In 2001, 49-year-old Joey Ramone, who wants to be sedated, the frontman of iconic punk band The Ramones, stumbled into a long-term battle with lymphoma. Born Jeffrey Hyman, Ramone began as a drummer with the band when the band formed in 1974 before taking over as lead singer for their self-titled 1976 debut. Viewed as the antidote to the overindulgence of professional rock, the Ramones helped ignite the punk rock revolution and became re-owned for their short, fast songs, driving guitars, and infectious choruses. Joey's first solo album, Don't Worry About Me, which included a cover of Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World, was released posthumously in 2002. In 1972, soul singer Roberta Flack scored her first U.S. #1 with The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, which spent 6 weeks at the top of Billboard Hot 100. It was the North Carolina singer's pianist version of a folk ballad that was written in 1957 by British singer-songwriter Ewan McCool. While Flack recorded the song in 1969, it was overlooked until the actor and film director Clint Eastwood revived the tune in the soundtrack of his 1971 movie, Play Mitzi for Me. In 1957, Jerry Lee Lewis released his first charting single, Whole Lot of Shakin' Going On, for Sam Phillips' Memphis-based Sun label. The song, previously recorded in 1955 by blues singer Big Maybelle, stalled at number 3 on the Hot 100, but topped the U.S. country and R&B charts. And in 1996, the remainder of the Grateful Dead leader Jerry Garcia's ashes were scattered near San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge after a small portion having disappeared in Indiana's Ganges River 11 days earlier. Garcia passed away on August 9th of the previous year. We have some birthdays in the world of music. For April the 15th in years past, Bessie Smith, the blues singer, was born in 1894. Born in 1965, Linda Perry from Four Non Blondes. From the Darkness, Frankie Poulin was born on this day in 1967. Born in 1968, Ed O'Brien from Radiohead. Then we have Louis Fonsi, was born in 1978. Also born in 1978, Chris Stapleton. From the Black Keys, Patrick Carney was born in 1980. And born on April the 15th, 1987, Ayaz, who is a singer-songwriter and dancer. And those are all the events that happened on this, well, mainly the big headlines for the world of music for April the 15th. Now let's get into what happened in years past for sports. Nothing but sports for April the 15th. In 1896, first modern Summer Olympic Games closed at the Pantheonic Stadium in Athens, Greece. USA wins gold medal count with 11 in Greece. The total medal count was 46. In 1901, fifth Boston Marathon won for a second straight year by Canadian Jim Keffery in race record 2:29:23.6. In 1907, 11th Boston Marathon won by Canadian Tom Longboat in a race record of 2:24:24. Well, when your last name is Longboat, I think you're going to be a good racer, I think. In 1911, Walter Johnson pitches a record, tying 4 strikeouts in an inning. In 1912, 16th Boston Marathon won by Mike Ryan in a race record, 2:21:18.2. In 1915, New York Giant Ruby Marquard no hits Backlund 2-0. In 1918, 22nd Boston Marathon won by Camp Devens relay team. Race run as relay for 10-man military teams. In 1925, NHL's New York Americans, formerly Hamilton Tigers, first game, lose 3-1. In 1927, Yankee slugger Babe Ruth hits number 1 of MLB record season, 60 home runs, tees off on A's Howard Emke in first inning of New York's 6-3 win over Philadelphia. In 1929, 33rd Boston Marathon won by Canadian Johnny Miles in 2:33:08.6, his second win in the event. In 1935, 39th Boston Marathon won by John A. Kelly in 2:32:07.4. 1937, Stanley Cup Final, Olympia Stadium, Detroit, Michigan. Detroit Red Wings beats New York Rangers 3-0 for a 3-2 series win, back-to-back titles for the Red Wings. In 1940, 44th Boston Marathon won by Gerard Cote of Canada in 2:28:28.6, first of 4 wins in the event. In 1946, 50th Boston Marathon won by Stelios Kyriakides of Greece in 2:29:27, first and only cryptoid athlete to win the event. In 1947, number 42 himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Jackie Robinson becomes the first African American to play in Major League Baseball for the Brooklyn Dodgers. In 1952, Stanley Cup Final, Olympia Stadium, Detroit, Michigan. Detroit Red Wings beats Montreal Canadiens 3-0 44 game to nothing series sweep. In 1954, Orioles' first game in Baltimore beats the White Sox 3-1. Also in 1954, Yankees dedicate a plaque to Edward Barrow. In 1957, 61st Boston Marathon won by John J. Kelly into 2005. Course length changed. In 1958, first baseball game in California, San Francisco Giants beat Los Angeles Dodgers 8-0. In 1961, France wins its second outright Five Nations Rugby Championship with a 15-3 victory over Ireland at Lansdowne Road, Dublin. 1963, 67th Boston Marathon won by, oh, here we go. Here's a name to pronounce. 67th Boston Marathon won by Aurélie Vendin Drusici of Belgium in race record to 1858. And I am completely sorry if I completely butchered that last name, or that first name for that matter, to Kingdom Come. In 1965, NFL changes penalty flag from white to bright gold. In 1967, France wins its fourth outright Five Nations Rugby Championship with a 11-6 win over Ireland at Lansdowne Road in Dublin. In 1968, 72nd Boston Marathon, M.B. Burfoot wins in 2:22:17. Bobby Gibb, first woman for a third straight year, in 3:30, unsanctioned. Also in 1968, Houston Astros beat New York Mets 1-0 in 24 innings at the Astrodome. Starting pitchers Tom Seaver and Don Wilson pitched 10 and 9 innings respectively in a game that lasts over 6 hours. In 1974, 78th Boston Marathon, Neil Cusack of Ireland takes men's race in 2:13:39. American Mickey Gorman women's winner in 2:47:11. In 1976, Yankee Stadium reopens after extensive renovation. Yankees beat Minnesota Twins after trailing 4-0. In 1977, first baseball game at Montreal's Olympic Stadium. In 1979, 43rd U.S. Masters Tournament. Fuzzy Zoller wins his only Masters with a birdie on the second hole of a playoff with Ed Snead and Tom Watson. In 1984, 48th U.S. Masters Tournament. Ben Crenshaw wins the first of his two green jackets, 2 strokes ahead of 1977 and 1981 champion Tom Watson. In 1985, 89th Boston Marathon, Englishman Jeff Smith repeats as men's championship in 2:14:05. American Lisa Larson Wiedenbach takes women's title in 2:34:06. I'm sorry, but every time I see Jeff spelled with a Geoff, I always think it's Geoff. And I still think it's Geoff to this day. In 1986, Viv Richards, century of 56 balls versus England in Antigua Test cricket. In 1989, Hillsborough disaster. 96 people are crushed to death. Oh, damn. And 1,766 are injured at Hillsborough Football Stadium in Sheffield, England, during an FA Cup semi-final between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. Darn, that sucks. That is darn shame. Also in 89, Sue Marichetto wins third World Cup female marathon in 2:30:48. In 1990, Senior PGA Championship, PGA National. South African Gary Player wins his third event title by 2 strokes from Chichi Rodriguez. In 1991, 95th Boston Marathon. Ibrahim Hussein of Kenya wins his second men's title in 2:11:06. Wana Penfil of Poland Women's Championship in 2:24:18. Also in 1991, Magic Johnson sets NBA record for career assists with 9,898. one of my favorite basketball players of all time. Also in 1991, Sacramento Kings set NBA record, losing 35th consecutive game on road. In 1992, New York Islander coach Al Arbour sets a record for coaching the most NHL games at 1,438. In 1996, 100th Boston Marathon, Moses Tanui of Kenya takes centenary men's title in 2:09:15.9. 3P for Jutta Pippig of Germany, a women's race in 2:27:12. Also in 96, Boston Athletic Association officially recognizes Bobby Gibbs' 3 Boston Marathon wins, 1966, 1967, and 1968, in era prior to women being sanctioned for the race. In 1997, baseball honors Jackie Robinson by retiring number 42 for all teams. We were talking about Robinson earlier on this. In the year 2000, when we would make it up to you, NFL draft, Penn State defensive end Courtney Brown, first pick by Cleveland Browns. In 2001, the tradition senior men's golf at GC at Desert Mountain, Doug Towell wins his second and final championships, 2 major by 9 strokes from Mike McCullough. In 2002, 106th Boston Marathon, Kenyan double Rogers Rob claims men's event in 2:09:02, Margaret O'Kale, women's winner in 2:20:43. In 2013, the 117th Boston Marathon, Desi Benti of Ethiopia, men's winner in 2:10:22. Rita Jeptu of Kenya wins women's section in 2:26:25. Oh my God, there's a lot of Boston Marathons for this one here. Also in 2013, Boston Marathon bombings. I do remember that to this very day. 3 people are killed and 183 injured after 2 explosions near the finish line. In 2015, Larissa's World Sports Awards, Shanghai Grand Theater, Shanghai, China. Sportsman Novak Djokovic, sportswoman Genzibi Dibaba, team German men's national football team. Genzibi Dibaba. In 2019, 123rd Boston Marathon, Lawrence Chenero of Kenya wins 2:07:58, just 0.1 ahead of Ethiopia's Nesia Dizia. Workinik Digva of Ethiopia is women's champion in 2:23:31. In 2019 also, 3 days after winning Hobie Baker Award as top college hockey player, Cale Makar becomes the first defenseman to score in NHL, debuting during the playoffs in Colorado's 6-2 Game 3 win over Calgary. And in 2019, Los Angeles Clippers overcome an NBA record of 31-point deficit to score an impossible, or improbable, I should say, 135-131 Game 2 playoff victory over the Golden State Warriors in Oakland. Shooting guard Lou Williams, 36 points. And those are the events in sports for April the 15th. And for the final installment for On This Day, we are going to take a look at film and television for April the 15th in years past. In 1948, KCPX, now KTVX TV Channel 4 in Salt Lake City, Utah, first broadcast. In 1953, WHP TV Channel 21 in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, begins broadcasting. In 1954, KARK TV Channel 4 in Little Rock, Arkansas, begins broadcasting. Also in 1954, WHO TV Channel 13 in Des Moines, Iowa, begins broadcasting. In 1957, KTVI TV Channel 2 in St. Louis, Missouri, begins broadcasting. In 1958, 10th Emmy Awards Gunsmoke, Robert Young and Jane Wyatt win. In 1961, Meredith Willson's musical The Music Man, starring Robert Preston and Barbara Cook, closes at Majestic Theater, New York City, after 1,375 performances, 5 Tony Awards, and a Grammy. In 1963, Steve Allen's musical Sophie, based on the life of American singer and comic actress Sophie Tucker, opens at Winter Garden Theater in New York City and runs for 8 performances. In 1966, KHET TV channel 11 in Honolulu, Hawaii begins broadcasting. In 1970, WMGZ TV channel 16 in Marigood's PR begins broadcasting. In 1970, WPSJ TV channel 14 in Ponce PR begins broadcasting. In 1971, 43rd Academy Awards, Patton, George C. Scott, and Glenda Jackson win. In 1972, Barbra Streisand, James Taylor, Carole King, and Quincy Jones perform benefit concert for George McGovern for president campaign at the Forum in Inglewood, California. In 1983, Tokyo Disneyland opens. In 1984, Galt McDermott and William Demarcois's musical The Human Comedy, based on the novel by William Saroyan, closes at the Royal Theater in New York City after 13 performances. In 1987, Barbara Cook, a concert, opens at Ambassador, New York City, runs for 13 performances. In 1990, sketch comedy TV channel, TV series, In Living Color, premieres on Fox TV. In 1991, former child actor Adam Rich charged with burglary. In 1992, Jay Leno's final appearance as permanent guest host of The Tonight Show. In 1992, William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and DeFrost Kelly introduced into National Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame. In 1994, jazz singer Tony Bennett records a session for MTV Unplugged series at Sony Studio, New York City, featuring the Ralph Sharon Trio and guest appearances by Elvis Costello and Katie Lang. Album release wins 2 Grammy Awards. In 1997, disaster film Volcano, directed by Mick Jackson and starring Tommy Lee Jones and Anne Heche, premieres in South Korea. In 2012, TV comedy drama Girls, created by and starring Lena Dunham, premieres on HBO. In 2014, U.S. TV series Fargo, created by Noah Hawley, starring Billy Bob Thornton, Allison Tolman, and Colin Hanks, and Martin Freeman, premieres on FX. And those are the events that happened on this day in the world of film and television. And I do believe it is about that time for the main event for episode 66 of The Rock Out Wild Show. And I will be going over an article from Empire Online. And seeing as I haven't done a topic in the world of film in the main event for a while, I thought I would do a film topic for you all. And one thing that was on my mind as of late was science fiction. So I was looking up some stuff, looking at lists of science fiction films and things of that nature. So I came across this list and I thought I'd share it for you all. So let's share screen. And let's go to the main events. That is the 50 best science fiction movies of all time from Empire Online. And let's see what we have here. So this was posted on December the 15th, 2025 by Ben Travis. And here's an intro here. Outer space, inner space, new worlds. Tech Frontiers, Artificial Intelligence. The best science fiction movies take us to places beyond our own imagination, dreaming up impossible futures that inevitably go on to shape our own technological advances. Great sci fi delivers mind bending visuals packed with mind blowing ideas, probing everything from the human experience to the future of humanity. It's a genre that contains multitudes from fast, funny, colorful space adventures to dark, dystopian tragedies set in the present, far future, or even a long time ago in a galaxy far away. Reference to Star Wars. And if you're wanting a list of the best sci fi movies of all time, you're in the right place. The Team Empire Hive Mind has communed in the cloud to come up with a list of the most iconic sci fi cinema, from modern masterpieces to game changing greats. From Spielberg to Scott to Kubrick to Carpenter, there's something in the lists of 50 for everyone. Read on and prosper. So let's take a look at what this list is. So number 50 is a movie called Silent Running, directed by Douglas Trumbull, starring Bruce Dern, Cliff Potts, Ron Rifkin, Douglas Trumbull. Silent Running is a movie that I don't know very well. I never even heard of it. I wonder if it's any good, if it's worth a look. So that's the number 50 slide. It is a movie that came out in the 70s, so it might be all right considering the time it came out. Number 49 on this list is a movie called High Life, directed by Claire Dennis, starring Robert Pattinson, Juliette Bichon, Mia Goth. A movie I never heard of, but looking at the cast, it looks like a promising, judging by the picture, it looks like a space movie, considering the Robert Pattinson dropped his fangs for Twilight to do a space movie. I'm all for it. I mean, he was really good in Good Times, so I think with Robert Pattinson, anything after Twilight, I think he's a good actor. Would I check this movie out? Maybe in the future I would. Number 48 on this list is Snowpiercer, directed by Bong Joon-ho, starring Chris Evans, Tilda Swinton. You sold me on Chris Evans already. This is a movie I have heard of, and I do believe it was at the theater, but it's one that I never got a chance to watch at all. Maybe one day I will. So that's number 48. Number 47 on this list is District 9. This is the movie I have seen at the theater when it came out. This one's directed by Neil Blomkamp, and it stars Sholto Copley and David James. Once I get into the top 20, I'll probably read some of this stuff, but just to recap on District 9, I thought it was a good, decent sci-fi flick for the time it came out. So I wonder if it's a movie that holds up in 2026. That's my concern about that movie. Moving on here. Number 46, The Abyss, directed by James Cameron. This movie came out in 1989, starring Ed Harris, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Michael Biehn is in this as well. This is a movie I would like to check out because of who's directing this movie. So this is the same guy that directed Titanic and Avatar. So I think, he directed one of the Alien movies as well. I think it was Aliens, the second one. And so anything that James Cameron directs, I want to check out. And this is a movie I really want to check out sometime as well. So that's at number 46. Let me know if The Abyss is at a good spot, or should it be higher, or should it be a little bit lower? Let me know in the chat or in the comment section below. Number 45 is Children of Men. This is a movie that I have seen, and I don't remember a lot of it. I remember watching this at the theater 20 damn years ago. I can't believe it. This one is directed by Alfonso Cuarón, starring Clive Owen and Julianne Moore, Claire Hope as well. Uh, I wouldn't mind watching this again just to get a refresher. Yeah, I don't know if this movie is too low or too high or it's at a good spot. This is a movie that again, I would want to watch this because I want to do some homework on it. So let me know again if this movie is at a decent spot or not. Number 44 on this list, Donnie Darko. I think I remember seeing this movie, but I was late to the party when it came out. This one came out in 2001. This one stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Patrick Swayze, and it is directed by Richard Kelly. And this is a movie that I don't remember this being an actual science fiction movie. That's the one thing I don't remember. I remember this movie being like a thriller or a psychological thriller, but I don't remember Donnie Darko being a science fiction movie. Let me know if you consider Donnie Darko a science fiction movie in the chat. And also let me know if this is at a decent spot or not as well. Number 43 on this list is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That came out in 2004, directed by Michael Gondry, starring one of my favorite comedians of all time, Jim Carrey, and Kate Winslet. This is a movie that I have never seen. I don't know if this is a good movie or not, but because Jim Carrey is in it, I am inclined to check this movie out sometime in the future. Again, this is a movie that I hear people praise a lot, but also people say it's also overrated, depending who you ask. So I ask, let me know if Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is too high or too low, or if it's at a good spot. Number 42 on this list, Predator from 1987. I ain't got time to bleed. Jesse the Body Ventura. This one is directed by John McTiernan and stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, and Kevin Peter Hall. It says there, if it bleeds, we can kill it. This is Predator 80s cheese at its best. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger at his best. This is sci-fi at its 80s best. I really like this movie. I do remember seeing it, and I think it's at a decent spot. Maybe it could be higher than it is, but the movie that, again, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I wouldn't mind watching this a second time as well. Number 41 on this list, Stalker from 1979. This one is directed by Andrea Tarkovsky, starring Alexander Kandovsky, and a few names that that are hard to pronounce. The sounds like a movie that was made not in America, like somewhere in Europe maybe. This is a movie I never heard before, I don't think. So I'm going to ask, let me know if Stalker is at a good spot or not. Now we're going to get into the top 40 portion here. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978. Directed by Philip Kaufman, starring Donald Sutherland and Brooke Adams. As far as this movie being a science fiction movie, it's very light on science fiction. It's more of a horror-based type of movie. It's like almost like a horror thriller. I don't know if I would consider this a science fiction movie unless I'm missing something. So I don't know if Invasion of the Body Snatcher 78 is appropriate to be on a list of the 50 best science fiction movies of all time. I genuinely do not know that. But let me know also if this movie, do you think, is at a decent spot or not? Number 39 on this list, 12 Monkeys from 1995, directed by Terry Gilliam, starring Bruce Willis, Brad Pitt, Madeline Stowe. Based on the names, Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt, I'm inclined to check this movie out. I don't know if it's any good. So it looks like, judging by the picture, it looks like an outer space type of movie. So to the people that did see 12 Monkeys, let me know if this is too high or too low, or if it's at a good spot. Number 38 on this list, we're getting to an anime movie here called Akira, directed by Kazuhiro Otomo, starring Mitsuo Iwata, Nozomu Zaski. An anime science fiction movie. I have no desire to watch this movie at all. Anime is not really a genre I would not go for. So I'm gonna continue on and pass on that film. Number 37, Under the Skin from 2013, directed by Jonathan Glazer, starring Scarlett Johansson. And from what I understand, I think this was one of A24's first films. If not, it's the movie that really made A24 A24. If this is considered sci-fi, let me know if it is or not. This is a movie I wouldn't mind checking out eventually when I get there. I mean, Scarlett Johansson, you really can't go wrong. So Scarlett Johansson in a science fiction movie, I'm sold either way, and it's also an A24 studio type of film, which I'm also sold on as well. Number 36 on this list, Sunshine from 2007, directed by Danny Boyle, starring Cillian Murphy, Rose Byrne, and Chris Evans. I've never heard of this movie before, but knowing that this movie stars Cillian Murphy and Chris Evans, I am sold to watching this movie. And they're in a science fiction movie as well. Oh, and Danny Boyle, I've seen that name around, but I don't know exactly what movies Danny has done. I would have to actually check out his profile to see what movies he's directed. So this is a movie that looks like a decent flick only by looking at that picture there. It might be a decent flick to watch. So I will take note of that movie, and sometime I'll watch it in the future. Number 35, AI, Artificial Intelligence, 2001. I mean, this movie still holds up to this very day because AI is such a prominent thing right now in 2026. You talk about a movie that is ahead of its time, kind of like a movie that I have a feeling that we're going to get to later on, hopefully much later on. I would love to watch this movie again. And this is directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Haley Joel Osment and Jude Law. I would love to watch this movie again because it's science fiction, it's Spielberg, it's the guy that saw dead people in The Sixth Sense. You can't go wrong. That is a recipe of success right there. Number 34 on this list, Avatar, directed by James Cameron, starring Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana and Sigourney Weaver. No need to go over this. The only thing that you need to know is that it's the highest grossing film of all time, or at least one of them, or at least the end game should be, but Avatar is that cream of the crop in terms of grossing money at the theater. It grossed over $1 billion in the box office, well over $1 billion. So for this movie to be number 34 on a top 50 best science fiction movies of all time, I can understand that to a perspective of a movie that made a lot of money. But when it comes to a movie with characters and a story and a thought-provoking type of plot, it's very generic, I think. but I'm okay with this being number 34 and not in the top 10. If this was in the top 10, I would say kick rocks, hell no, leave that alone. But because it's 34, I will allow it. Number 33 on this list, The Day the Earth Stood Still from 1951, directed by Robert Weiss, starring Michael Renee and Patricia Neal. This is a movie that I do have saved somewhere, and I do want to watch this eventually. So look out for me to watch this movie somewhere down the road when I do my own ranking of science fiction movies. Number 32, Minority Report, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Cha-Ching, Tom Cruise, Samantha Morton, and Colin Farrell. I would love to watch this movie again. I remember watching this at the theater when it came out. I don't recall if I thought this was great or not, but this is a movie that I think requires another viewing because it's been so long since I've seen it. The last time I've seen it, it was at the theater all those years ago, 24 years ago. So that's all you need to know when it comes to that. I have to watch that movie again. Number 31. Oh, this movie should be higher. But if this was a horror list of the top 50 best horror movies of all time, I think it should be higher. But because it's sci-fi, I'll say this about The Fly, 1986. It's a combination of a horror and science fiction, but I think it's a little bit more horror than anything. Starring Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, directed by David Cronenberg. Love this movie to no end, and that's all you need to know. Number 30, Wall-E from 2008, starring Ben Burtt and Elisa Knight, directed by Andrew Stanton. I don't recall if I've seen this movie or not. I might have seen it at the theater, but it's a movie that I wouldn't mind checking out again. And also let me know if you think that Wall-E is at a good spot, or if it should be higher, or if it should be lower. Number 29, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. I can go longer if I wanted to. Directed by Nicholas Meyer, starring William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and Richard Montalban. Again, this is a movie that I think is at a good spot. Again, it's a movie that could be higher, but I don't mind it being in at least the top 30 portions. So I think it's at a good spot on here. Depending on what the rest of the science fiction movies are here on this list. So what are we getting into? Number 28, Dune, 2021. Now, because this movie is a little bit more recent, it's only 5 years old. Even though I love Dune, I think that this being a number 28 is a little bit too high. I don't mind it being maybe in the top 40, but because you're going into the top 30 here, I think it should be a little bit lower than what it is. In a little bit lower than what it actually is. Directed by Denis Villeneuve, starring Oscar Isaac, Timothy Chalamet, and Rebecca Ferguson. This movie has an all-star cast, and again, I love the movie to no end. But it's a movie I think, again, because of the recency bias, I think it could be a little bit lower. Number 27 on this list is Blade Runner 2049, directed by Denis Villeneuve. Again, two back-to-back Denis Villeneuve movies here. This one starred Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford. This is a movie I think was really, really good when it came out in 2017. I really enjoyed this movie. And because it's almost a decade old, I think it's at a decent spot again, depending who you ask. I know this is a polarizing movie, but for me, for my money, for what it's worth, I really enjoyed the heck out of Blade Runner 2049. So I think it's at a decent spot. But let me know if you think if this is a movie that should be a lot lower or it should be higher. Let me know. Number 26, we're getting to another animated one, an anime movie, Ghost in the Shell, directed by Mamoru Oshii, starring Atsukisu Tanka, Akio Otsuka, and this is a movie that was remade, if you don't know, uh, back in the 2010s, I do believe, somewhere around there. It was a movie that was remade and starred Scarlett Johansson at that time, but this is the original Ghost in the Shell from 1995. This is a movie I wouldn't mind checking out only because I only seen the remake first, so I wouldn't mind actually, even though I'm not one for anime or these type of movies. This is not really my genre. This is one I'm actually open to watch because I have a little bit of a knowledge of Ghost in the Shell with the remake, so I would definitely want to watch that eventually. Number 25 is Solaris from 1972, directed by Andrea Tarkovsky, starring Danteas Benotis and Natalia Bondarchuk. George Clooney is in this as well. Um, I've seen this movie pop up in lists, in sci-fi lists as well. A movie that I wouldn't mind checking out, and because it came out in the 70s, it's probably one of those movies that you get more than what you bargain for. I'll just leave it at that. Number 24 on this list from 1968, Planet of the Apes, starring Charlton Heston, directed by Franklin J. Schaffner. And this is a movie that I love to know, and I think it belongs on a top 50 best sci-fi movies of all time. So I think with this movie, this should be on it, and I'm glad it's on it. And as for this being number 24, decent spot. It could be higher, but I think it's at a decent spot. Number 23, Hookah Chaka, Hookah, Hookah, Hookah Chaka, Hookah, Hookah, Hookah Chaka. I can't stop this feeling. Directed by James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy from 2014, starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper. What's a raccoon? That's what I want to know. This movie, I agree 100% belongs on a list of science fiction movies of all time because it's been 12 years since this came out. A lot of time has come and gone when Guardians first showed up, and what a special movie this was. I mean, who knew about the Guardians of the Galaxy before this movie came out? I'd say only the hardcore Marvel readers knew about the Guardians of the Galaxy. As for the people that only watch the films just to be entertained for the casual type of audience, you may or may not know about the Guardians of the Galaxy. So this was a movie that James Gunn really put a lot of his money on and to bet on, and he deliver on that. James Gunn absolutely delivered on Guardians of the Galaxy, and I agree with this being at the number 23 spot. Number 22 on this list, Jurassic Park, 1993, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum. This, to me, is one of still, even though I haven't seen all of Steven Spielberg's films, I think this is one of his best ones. And the dinosaurs look fantastic. This movie still holds up to this very day. And I'm so glad to see Jurassic Park getting all the credit where credit is due. And I think it's at a good spot at number 22 on this list. Number 21, Interstellar, directed by Christopher Nolan and Nolan We Trust, starring Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, and Jessica Chastain. I love this movie. And I think it's at a good spot being at the number 21 spot. Now, I don't think this is Christopher Nolan's best movie, but it's definitely not his worst either. I think this is somewhere in the middle. On a future episode of the Rock and Wild Show, I will be going over his movies before The Odyssey comes out. So stay tuned for that. So I'm going to plug that in a little bit early. So that's at number 21. Then we get into the top 20 portion. We have RoboCop from 1987, directed by Paul Verhoeven, starring Peter Weller. I do believe I've seen this movie. I'm not sure. Maybe parts of it. As for the whole thing, I'm not 100% sure if I did see this. So let me know if you think the original RoboCop is at a good spot on this list. Is it too high or is it too low? Let me know. Number 19. Thank you. Metropolis from 1927. Directed by Fritz Lang, starring Alfred Abel. This movie came out in the silent era. This is a silent era movie, and it's fantastic. It's one of the best silent era movies of all time. It's one of the best movies of all time. It's one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. You cannot have a top 50, let alone a top 20 sci-fi movies of all time if you don't have this on here. This movie is a must for every sci-fi list. So I'm so glad to see Metropolis being on this list. Number 18, Ex Machina from 2015, directed by Alex Garland, starring Domhnall Gleeson, Oscar Isaac, and Alicia Vikander. This over Metropolis, I'm not so sure about that. I think I have to put Metropolis over Ex Machina, but that's not to say Ex Machina is a bad film, because I don't think it is. Ex Machina is an absolute trendsetter when it comes to science fiction. And because of the time that has come and gone, and this movie is 11 years old, I 100% agree that this movie belongs on an all-time list. As for it being number 18, maybe it's a little slightly too high, but again, I don't mind it being at 18. Number 17, Looper from 2012. I think this is one of the most underrated science fiction movies, and I'm so glad to see this movie get its credit. Directed by Rian Johnson, starring Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Emily Blunt. Really, these two actors right here, Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, they're playing their past and future self, and this is a movie I would love to watch again. If I could find this movie again, that would be great. And I remember watching this movie when it came out in 2012, thinking this was one awesome movie. And I would love to watch this again just to see if it still holds up. Number 16 on this list is Moon, directed by Duncan Jones, starring Sam Rockwell. This is a movie I don't think I've actually seen. I like Sam Rockwell, the actor, so I definitely want to check out this movie when I get to it. And it's Sam Rockwell in a ship, in a spaceship. Oh, I'm sold. Now I want to see this. Where can I find this? Let me know in the chat. And also tell me, what do you think? Moon 2009. Is it at a good spot? Is it high? Is it too high? Is it too low? Let me know. Number 15, Close Encounters of the Third Kind from 1977, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Richard Dreyfuss. This is a movie that is a remake. I was talking about the 1951 version earlier on this list, and I think Close Encounters of the Third Kind, this is a movie that I have to watch, because I don't know. I have one of these movies saved, and I don't know which version it is. So I'll have to get both, and I will watch both. So let me know. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, directed by Steven Spielberg in 1977. Is it a good spot? Is it too high? Is it too low? Tell me, what do you think? Number 14 on this list, The Terminator from 1984. Directed by James Cameron, starring Linda Hamilton, Michael Biehn, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Love the Terminator. I think the second one is better, but the Terminator, the first one, where Arnold Schwarzenegger is the main villain in the movie, little did you know, I think it's at a good spot here on this Smith list of science fiction movies. Hopefully, the second one is on here when we get there. Number 13, Arrival, 2016, directed by Denis Villeneuve, starring A.B. Adams and Jeremy Renner. This is the movie I will get to when I get to my reactions of films. So I'm looking forward to reacting to my movie review for this movie. And I remember this movie being one of my favorites of 2016. As for this being 10 years old now with a lot of time come and gone, I think it's at a decent spot. I think Metropolis is a better movie though, but I think it's at a decent spot. It could be a little bit lower, but I like where it's at. I'm not complaining with Arrival being at number 13. Number 12, Inception, directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Elliot Page, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. This is a movie that does not need no introduction at all. This is one of Christopher Nolan's best movies. I think this is his third or fourth best movie on his directed films, I think, in my opinion. Again, I will go over Nolan's films before The Odyssey comes out. So, Inception, what a transcending type of movie. This is a groundbreaking film with mind-bending visuals that explode on screen. That's just a teaser for what's to come for my ranking for Christopher Nolan's movies. Number 11, The Thing from 1982, directed by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell and Keith David. I watched this movie a few times, and I think this is at a decent spot. Now, it's more of a horror movie than a science fiction movie. However, I completely understand where they get the science fiction from because of the the space UFO that comes in and then the thing pops out. We don't know what the thing is. There's a whole lot of body contortions, practical horror effects going on, and it's one of the best horror movies of all time. And as for this being a science fiction movie, I agree that it also belongs on a science fiction list, and it's at number 11. I'm so glad and happy to see The Thing getting all the credit now as opposed to when it came out, because when The Thing came out, the critics did not like this movie at all. As time went on, as decades went on, people started to praise The Thing a lot more. And I absolutely love it. Absolutely love that The Thing is getting all the credit where credit is due. Now we get into the top 10 portion of this list. Number 10, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Henry Thomas, Drew Barrymore, and Dee Wallace. The only thing that I'm sold on is Steven Spielberg and its science fiction and the famous line, E.T. phone home. I would love to watch this movie again. It belongs in the top 10. Number 9 on this list, Aliens from 1986, directed by James Cameron, starring Sigourney Weaver, Michael Biehn, and Carrie Henn. The famous line, "Get away from her, you bitch." That's all you need to know. Aliens, one of the best science fiction movies of all time. It definitely belongs in the top 10. Number 8 on this list. I'm so happy Chris Van Vliet is going to go over the hills with this. Back to the Future is number 8, directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Michael J. Fox. And the guy that forgot the hill while he was falling, Christopher Lloyd and Leah Thompson. Back to the Future, I think, belongs in the top 10, maybe the top 5 or top 3. But I'm so happy to see Back to the Future in the top 10. Number 7, there it is. Terminator 2, Judgment Day from 1991, directed by James Cameron, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, and Edward Furlong. All I gotta say is, hasta la vista, baby. Terminator 2 is one of the best science fiction movies of all time, hands down. Number 6, Star Wars, the original Star Wars from 1977. I'm glad to see a Star Wars movie on here. I mean, you can't have a science fiction all time list without having Star Wars. I mean, you have to have Star Wars on here. Directed by George Lucas, starring Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher. And the rest is history. Then we get into the top five. At number five, I think this movie should be number one, but it's number five. 2001: A Space Odyssey from 1968, directed by Stanley Kubrick, starring Keir Dullea and Douglas Rain. I think this should be the number one science fiction movie of all time. However, I'm so glad to see it in the top five. It's at the very least, if you don't have a number one, you should have 2001: A Space Odyssey in the top five at the very least. So I'm glad it's at number five. Number four, The Matrix. The Matrix is over 2001: Space Odyssey, and I don't mind that because I think The Matrix is a revolutionary science fiction movie. Love this movie to no end, and it still holds up to this very day. It's Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Lawrence Fishburne at their peak, at their best, and the rest is history. You know the rest. Number three on this list, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. So we got two Star Wars movies here, which again, I don't mind. Directed by Aaron Kirshner, starring Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher. And it's Star Wars. It's science fiction. You know the rest. The runner-up at number two on this list, Alien. Directed by Ridley Scott, stars Sigourney Weaver, Ian Holm, and John Hurt. Now, I think Alien is more of a horror movie, but it does have science fiction elements in it. This movie is in outer space. Yes, this movie has an alien. So yeah, this movie has science fiction in it. And I'm happy to see it at a good spot. It's in the runner-up position at number two. But I wonder, what do you think? Do you prefer Alien or James Cameron's Aliens? Let me know in the chat. It's very interesting to see the first one higher than the second one. That is interesting. But as for what is the number one science fiction movie of all time, according to this website, Empire Online, well, it is Blade Runner 1982, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, and Sean Young. I have not seen Blade Runner 1982, so I cannot tell you if this movie deserves to be number one or not. So I would have to watch this movie to judge to see if this is better than movies like The Matrix or 2001: Space Odyssey or Ex Machina or Metropolis, just to name a few. I wonder, do I think Blade Runner is better than those movies? Well, I would have to watch it to see. And as for this being number one, what do you think in the chat, in the comments? Is Blade Runner the rightful number one here, or is it way too low? Or is it slightly low? Should this be in the top 5, the top 10, or 20, or 40, what have you? What do you think about Blade Runner, the original 1982? Let me know in the chat. And that was the list of the top 50 best science fiction movies of all time, according to Empire Online. And this has been episode number 66 of the Rock and Walt Show. I'm going to leave you all with a quote from Perspective of the Day, and it goes something like this. Your best friend is a treasure beyond measure. They are the one who knows you, your heart, your dreams, your fears, and your quirks. They are the one who stands by you through thick and thin, offering a listening ear and comforting hug and unwavering support. Cherish the bond you share with your best friend, for it is a rare and precious gift. Take the time to express your gratitude, to laugh together, to create memories that will last a lifetime. In the journey of life, having a best friend by your side makes all the difference. Embrace the love, the laughter, and the compassion that comes with having a best friend, for they are truly a blessing in disguise. This has been episode 66 of the Rock and Wild Show, and I'm your host, just Mike. And on the final note, to all of you watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.